Bonjour, madame. Do you have a moment to... Has something happened?
You bet something's happened! That slime bag! How dare he say my performance was mediocre!
I'm sure he didn't mean...
That's it! I give up. I'm done with this acting. With this city.
Take a deep breath. Pick one man's opinion, and a wrong one at that. Is not powerful enough to topple a career like yours.
You're right. Let him think what he wants. I'm sorry. I'm an actress. It's my prerogative to be a little overdramatic.
Very impressive, Monsieur Hastings. A position in negotiations would suit you well.
Is there something I can help you both with? You do know what I do, don't you? I was on stage, performing in front of a packed house.
I did not mean to.
Zach, he was there. You two seemed pretty friendly. He'll tell you. So will that Russian lady from the gala. She was with him.
Monsieur Demir and Mademoiselle Babagne. Together. Très bien.
Oh, he's already seen it. I told him he didn't have to come.
A supportive husband indeed.
Yeah, real supportive. Your guess is as good as mine.
It is most important that I speak with him.
Then you've got a missing painting and a missing husband on your hands because I haven't seen him. Look, I don't think I can take much more today.
Mademoiselle Court Smythe was found murdered last night.
Okay.
I thought perhaps the news would be a little more jarring.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't really want to hear about anyone dying, but me and her... Well, there's no love lost.
Madame Allen's nonchalant response has certainly caught me off guard.
You have been most helpful.
What do you need? What can I do for you?
Merci,
What do you need? That sounds rather ominous.
I would not ask you to do something I would not consider doing myself. Only on this occasion it is I that must execute the other part of the plan.
What do you need me to do?
Madame Hélène, you must hold her attention while I take the opportunity to look around.
I certainly can. I'll appeal to her love of attention. Mrs. Allen, that photograph there, is that really you on a live film set?
Gentlemen, what can I do for you?
I was hoping to speak with Mademoiselle Farquhar.
I'm afraid she already has her hands full with the story. Unless you've come with a bigger one than what she's working on. Perhaps another time, gentlemen. We really are very busy. Perhaps another time, gentlemen. We really are very busy. Perhaps another time, gentlemen. We really are very busy. Let's not be so hasty. That could be just what we need.
Gentlemen, what can I do for you?
This is your office. It's very impressive.
Mademoiselle, would you have time to answer some questions?
I don't really have time right now. Perhaps we can schedule...
I assure you I shall remain focused and my questions relevant.
Fine. Make it fast. Is she all right?
I'm afraid not.
Heavens. How awful. Did she have any close relatives?
I do not believe so. And her parents have both passed also. She was the last remaining Court Smythe.
A question I did not expect. Although at least she is showing some form of compassion for Mademoiselle Court Smythe's family, or lack thereof.
I only met her recently in a professional capacity. What are they going to do with her exhibit?
I cannot say, but they may not be as forthcoming with her work now.
I'm sorry, Detective. I don't understand.
Mademoiselle Court Smythe was behind the painting's disappearance, and a forgery was discovered in her apartment.
So she stole the original and made a forgery? What heavens for?
That we are still yet to learn.
Am I a suspect?
We are just trying to gather all the information. Isn't that right, Poirot?
Oui, that is correct.
I'm sorry. It's just a lot to take in at once. I was working late into the evening yesterday. I had to get my article on the gala written. And the photographs, they had to be developed. There was probably someone still around in the office if you wanted to check. I'm sure you want to have every I dotted and T crossed. Really? I must have been so busy not to notice him. At least you can be sure of where I was.
Was there anyone else present in the office?
If Mr. Aylesworth was there, Nathaniel, my editor, must have been.
It strikes me as rather strange that Mademoiselle does not recall seeing such an important figure in the office. But not everyone can be as observant as I. I shall speak with the editor, as he will be able to confirm the presence of both in the office.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now.
What can I do for you, Detective? Well, Detective, this is a surprise.
A surprise, monsieur?
I wasn't expecting to be on the receiving end of an interrogation. I had nothing to do with the fire or her death.
You are aware of Mademoiselle Court Smythe's demise?
There isn't much in this city I don't know about. And for your little notepad, or wherever you're storing the facts, that report... Farquhar, she was in the office and can confirm I was there.
It appears that Monsieur Aylesworth is more preoccupied with proving his innocence than showing any compassion for Mademoiselle Court Smythe herself.
I will not take up any more of your time.
What do you need? What can I...
Merci. Voila. Your Grace, now that Bartholomew has been found, would you...
As my way of thanks, I'll answer your questions. Very well, get on with it. I hope that comes from an inquisitive nature rather than a place of accusation. I was at a museum trustees meeting, trying to finally make a decision on that girl.
You mean Mademoiselle Warbeck?
Who else? She's running that museum into the ground.
And following the meeting?
I returned to the church to prepare for Compline prayers, although I don't think I was alone.
You don't think?
I got the feeling that someone had followed me from the museum. I never saw them, but I know what I felt. None. I knew her merely by reputation, and a questionable one at that. Do you want to tell me what all these questions are about?
Mademoiselle Court-Smythe was murdered last night.
If you plan on being the bearer of such news, perhaps you should think of going about it with a little more civility. How did the young girl die?
There was a fire in her apartment, although it wasn't the flames that took her life, but poison.
Arson and poisoning. Oh, what is this world coming to?
Bishop Mountjoy claims he barely knew Mademoiselle Court-Smythe, but still showed a level of empathy I was not expecting. Perhaps I judged his blunt facade too quickly.
Found it? Really? Oh, heavens be! The Lord has shown his will once more.
I can only assume his delayed excitement came from being off guard. Unfortunately, I must turn his elation into disappointment.
If your Grace would allow me to finish. A forgery of it was found in Mademoiselle Court-Smythe's apartment, but it was destroyed in the fire.
She was the thief all along? Well, that just... A forgery? You mean she made a copy of it?
It appears that way.
I will rightly light a candle for her soul this evening. But that will not give her absolution from what she faces, kneeling before our Lord.
Ah. Huh. Huh.
What do you need? What can I do for... It looks like she was telling the truth after all.
About composing the letter, oui. But we cannot confirm where it was penned.
What's all this other stuff? I don't think it's from the letter to her father.
It seems we have stumbled across the names and addresses for the guests of the gala, although they are not all legible. We have gathered all the information we can from the guests at the gala. All except...
Betty's husband, Mr. Christensen.
Oui. We are now in possession of his address, where he is no doubt hiding like a frightened young boy avoiding his headmaster's ruler. Aha.
Voila. And just like that, the address of Monsieur Christiansen's apartment.
Remind me why we've lied our way into a man's apartment while he's not here?
Monsieur Christiansen was accused of harassing a young lady who has now been murdered, and he has not been seen since, even by his wife. Does that not strike you as peculiar?
Do you really think he could be capable of murder?
I believe everyone is capable, under the right circumstances. And right now, I believe Monsieur Christiansen is in that position. While we have no suspect to question, let us use our time wisely and search for clues. Leave no stone unturned.
Aha. Oh. Huh. Oh. Ah. Huh. Aha.
Monsieur Hastings, your assistance is required.
Of course. What do you need? What can I do for you?
Monsieur Christiansen was at the scene of the crime smoking with Mademoiselle Court Smythe before her death. Could he be the holder of the original Penitent Magdalene painting? He may very well have hidden it here.
Ah, Poirot! Good to see you.
The feeling is mutual, Monsieur Demire.
You and your formalities. Let's talk over here.
Is everything all right?
Miss Farquhar is interviewing Betty. I thought we should talk privately over here. I heard about Irene. Tragic news. And what's this I hear about poison?
Who told you that?
It doesn't take long for news like that to spread in this city.
I would appreciate some discretion between friends. But Mademoiselle was poisoned.
Anything I can help with? I won't take offense, as I know you're just doing your job. I attended the evening performance of Betty's show. Anastasia and I had a grand old time.
She accompanied you as your date?
She was at a loose end after the gala. Don't worry, I'm not here to tread on any toes. I mean, he can hold a conversation, of sorts.
You do not think particularly highly of him.
I've never had a problem with him before. Look, I ran into him last night in a bar after the show, and by the looks of him, it wasn't his first drink of the night. He was trying to sell me a lucrative business opportunity, a way we could both make some quick money.
Did you take him up on his offer?
God, no. When someone offers you something that sounds too good to be true, it usually is. That was some weekend. You should get him to tell you about it sometime.
Bragging is a sign of overconfidence and grandiose behavior.
You know, at first I found those kind of replies annoying. But now, charming almost.
I shall accept that as both a compliment and a sign of your maturity.
If it wasn't for the detective here, I would probably still be wallowing in my own anger and self-pity.
You have lived a life many of us have only heard about in stories. A life that we all hope no one will have to live again.
I second that.
Your family must be proud of the man you have become, as am I. I will not take up any more of your time.
Gentlemen, you're back.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Detective Hercule Poirot of the Kingdom of Belgium's police force.
You should have led with that before. Nathaniel Dryden, editor of the London Illustrated News.
My apologies. I was not aware of your position on our initial meeting.
That's quite all right. You were still more polite than most of the people that come through my door. What can I do for you? I did, but that was supposed to be an exclusive. How did you know?
It is a detective's job to know such things.
Doesn't really explain how, but okay. He said he had something to tell me that was going to blow me away. I couldn't say no. Indeed, she was. Although she was working on her own story, so I left her to it.
At no point did she leave the office?
She's a very hard worker and won't leave until the story is just how she wants it. Needless to say, she outstayed me. She had photographs to develop too, so was in the dark room for some time. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I have another appointment, if you don't mind. This place is usually full of all sorts that think they have a story for us, or want to know more about something we've published. I was meaning to mention that to Florence, actually.
Mention what, monsieur?
A young foreign girl came in asking about a piece that was on show at the museum. Originated in Eastern Europe somewhere, and Florence had written an article on it.
Did she say why she was so interested?
She said she was researching its journey from its first home with an affluent family. I forget the name. I couldn't tell her much more, besides that it was going to be moved from the museum shortly. No doubt into another exhibition somewhere.
Could this inquisitive young woman have been Mademoiselle Babagna? But why so curious about that particular piece of jewelry?
Merci. You have been most accommodating.
Oh. Oh. Ah. Huh. Mm-hmm. Ah. Aha.
Sacre. What is the meaning of this? It is the missing painting, and this photograph is identical to one that had been burnt in the fire.
Mademoiselle Farquhar, could I speak with you for a moment?
I'm in the middle of an interview.
I really must insist.
That was incredibly unprofessional, Detective.
If we are to discuss professionalism, perhaps we should talk about your work with Mademoiselle Court Smythe.
I think you've got me confused with...
Enough, mademoiselle. It is time for the truth.
You don't think I was involved?
Please do not feign ignorance, mademoiselle. Where did mademoiselle receive her inspiration to make her forgeries? I remind you that I stand before you as a detective. It would be wise not to continue this charade any longer.
Poirot, maybe we should...
Monsieur Hastings, if Mademoiselle Farquhar requires someone to speak in her defense, she can contact a lawyer.
That won't be necessary. She asked me to photograph certain pieces of art, that's all. I didn't know what she was doing with them. I swear. I have no idea. I thought she was just trying to help my career, and I needed it.
Your career does not appear to need the help of a criminal.
She had such confidence. She knew all the right things to say.
And she got exactly what she wanted from you.
I was financially dependent on her. She paid for the lifestyle that I had found myself in, that she pushed me into.
Couldn't you have just said no to her?
And risk her exposing me for what I had done? She was the one holding all the cards. I had no way of proving it was all her plan. I had no other choice but to do what she said.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now. I am sorry to have interrupted your interview earlier.
By the looks of it, what you were saying was much more exciting. Care to spill?
Perhaps we should stick to my questions to you. You have been most helpful.
Huh.
If it is, it's been written by someone that hasn't quite grasped the English language yet. Fire to Irene. Some kind of instruction to commit arson.
It seems too obvious, but that does not mean it is wrong.
Aha.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Is everything all right? Do not worry. It will not be long before the murderer is brought to justice.
It's not that. I just cannot understand how such historically relevant pieces like this remain in British hands. It doesn't belong here.
I am sorry, mademoiselle. I do not have the answer. I'm sure they are well maintained, if that is any consolation.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sure this is the last thing you wish to be talking about. Is there something I can help you with? Well, after it was all cut short rather abruptly, we
Oui, mademoiselle?
Mr. Demir and myself. We were all at a loose end and he was kind enough to invite me. Oh, I wasn't aware Mr. Hastings was to be the focus of Florence's article.
On the contrary, it is only one of many she took at the gala. What interests me is the brooch.
Would you believe I found it? Amazing how careless some people can be.
And you were intending on returning it?
Of course. It just slipped my mind with all the commotion of the painting.
Mademoiselle Cortsma no longer requires it. I shall hold on to it for now.
Yes, and it was something that I wanted to speak with you about, actually. At the gala, I spoke with the bishop and he mentioned a painting he had seen last year. But it was one that I'd read had been stolen. He couldn't have seen it when he said, unless... Well, it didn't sit well with me. So when Evelyn escorted you both to the restoration room and he left, I followed him. I stayed well back, and the bishop is hardly the most threatening. I followed him into his church, but he was gone. I looked everywhere, but he was nowhere to be seen. It was like he just evaporated.
He is a man of God, not a magician.
I don't know what to say. He wasn't there. I decided to wait outside, but when he eventually left, he had a wrapped package under his arm.
You have been most helpful, mademoiselle. I shall not take up any more of your time.
Oh. Huh. Oh. Ah.
What do you need? What can I do for you?
I will not take up.
What do you need? The argument with Irene at the gala and then with his wife after.
Madame Hélène had uncovered their relationship. But even with this revelation, what still remains a mystery is Monsieur Christiansen's involvement with the theft.
You're just full of questions, aren't you? Own? You don't just own an animal detective. He's part of our family.
Pardon. And his name?
Enoch. And I ask you the question, what's he got to do with anything? And how do you know about him?
Purely curiosity, madame. Enoch. A splendid name for a most handsome dog. And it was your husband that mentioned him at the gala.
It means faithful in Norwegian. It was Johann's idea.
You have been most helpful.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Oh. Ah.
The pigment of this paint is brighter than it should be.
Meaning?
We have found our second forgery.
Aha.
Poirot, the door. What are you doing in?
Monsieur Christiansen, welcome home.
This doesn't look good, does it?
We have much to discuss.
So Mr. Christensen had an opportunity and a motive, but he continues to deny killing her.
And still 2 forgeries remain.
I knew it.
Pardon, monsieur?
I knew that's why she stayed so friendly with her. Irene always said she was besotted, that she could get her to do whatever she wanted.
Perhaps you should elaborate on the identity of her?
The curator. Evelyn, what's her name? She could spot a forgery at 20 yards. What better person to show you the ropes so you can make your own?
If the board of trustees at the museum got wind of this, Miss Warbeck's career would be finished.
And in her own words, if anyone was to jeopardize her career,
she wouldn't be held responsible for her actions.
It seems Monsieur Christiansen may not be the only person tied to Mademoiselle Court Smythe who has a secret to hide. Madame Hélène has confirmed the surprise appearance of her husband during the intermission of her show. And as expected, she... Monsieur Hastings, there is something troubling you?
If I may speak freely.
You do not have to ask my permission.
This is all very overwhelming. We seem to be taking one step forward and two steps back.
I can understand your confusion, but you cannot allow it to consume you and your emotions to take charge.
Easier said than done. I just...
Oui, monsieur?
Must you be so hard on her?
I presume you refer to Mademoiselle Farquhar.
You talk about emotions not taking charge.
She is a suspect in a murder investigation, not a guest at afternoon tea. If Mademoiselle Farquhar is more important than discovering the truth and finding justice...
I would have thought you would know better of me by now. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with how you spoke to her.
When it is your investigation, you will have the authority to conduct your questioning how you see fit. Until then, I will continue in a manner that has and continues to bring criminals to justice.
And I'll just keep my opinions to myself.
Let us focus on the case. What do we know about Mademoiselle Warbeck's relationship with the deceased?
Mr. Christensen suggested she had romantic feelings towards Irene, but she was just another of her pawns.
She cleaned the master key to hide Mademoiselle Court Smythe's actions, but perhaps she then became worried about her own involvement.
You think she could have killed her to stop the truth coming out to the trustees?
Which would in turn ruin her career. It is certainly a possibility. Your Grace.
Detective Poirot, good morning. Can I assume there is still a murderer loose on the streets?
London is a very large city. I would fathom a guess that there is more than one, as I have not had the chance to arrest him yet.
Your confidence astounds me. Look, you had better make it quick. I'm meeting the young Russian girl here. She had some questions about the museum building at the gala. Questions I'm sure only I can answer. God teaches us to forgive and love thy neighbor. Sometimes that can be more challenging than expected.
Has she offended you personally?
Using the museum for her sordid meetings with those uncouth men? I'd say so.
She doesn't strike me as someone that would be caught up in that sort of thing.
And what sort of thing am I referring to?
Well,
Exactly. If you don't know, it would be wise to remain quiet until you're spoken to. I walked in on them in the restoration room a couple of weeks ago. I had come straight from my regular Sunday service, as I had some business to tend to. I opened the door and saw them all sitting there, scheming and planning.
You are not aware of what they were meeting about?
Do you need to wash your ears out? I just told you what they were up to. And I could see she had the financial books out. Why would she need them? I'm not even privy to those. And when she saw me, they stopped talking immediately. Surely that is a sign of their guilt?
Merci, Your Grace.
Go on, then. You make it sound as though it is I that has a problem with her.
Forgive me, have I misinterpreted?
If you cannot even understand what I have to say, how will you ever understand what Jesus and his Father in heaven require of you?
That is perhaps a matter best discussed at a later time. What I wish to know now is about you and Mademoiselle Warbeck.
There is no need to lose one's temper, Detective. The Lord tells us...
Your Grace, please.
A lesson for another time. Let's just say that I certainly wouldn't have given that common thief an exhibition, especially now.
Merci, Your Grace. Mademoiselle Warbeck, if you have a moment.
I'm actually rather busy. Is there any chance you could come back later?
I would have thought recovering your painting and identifying a murderer would be at the top of your priority list.
I'm sorry. It's just been so hectic here. I can spare 5 minutes. Is it necessary?
You do not wish to impede my investigation?
No, but I don't really understand what they have to do with the case.
It is important that...
That is quite all right, mademoiselle. It was not my intention to make you feel uncomfortable.
Honorable? That's a good one.
I get the sense you two spend your time butting faces.
Butting heads.
Oui, butting heads.
It would be easier to say what we do agree on. I don't know what he has against me. I didn't like one of his suggestions for an exhibition, and since then he's made it pretty clear he wants me gone. Usually after an exhibition, the artist's work would be returned to them.
But on this occasion, that is not an option.
I still have every intention of going ahead with the exhibit that includes her work, even if the trustees are against it. I'm still the curator of this museum. I'm hanging her work now, and that's that.
I recall Mademoiselle Court Smythe referred to the exhibit as hers. The level of arrogance and hypocrisy is now even more evident.
You have been most helpful.
Hmm. Ah. Oh. Aha. Huh. Oh. Ah. Huh. Hmm. Aha. Oh. Huh. Hmm.
Voila. The answer was staring me in the face. Bishop Mountjoy was quite adamant Mademoiselle Warbeck's meeting was something untoward. Although I believe anything she does, he will likely look upon negatively. To have a young woman undermine him in front of the other trustees would have been the ultimate insult. He allows his personal feelings to accentuate his cynical side, instead of allowing facts and evidence to show the truth, as one should. Mademoiselle Warbeck was doing nothing detrimental to the museum. In fact, quite the opposite with her attempt to modernize it, likely against the old-fashioned trustees' opinions.
Go right ahead, Detective. I wonder who you've been talking to. What did he tell you? That I've been up to no good?
Not in so many words.
I was meeting with artists for a new exhibition. He has no idea what he is talking about when it comes to art. Or really anything for that fact. He can't see the future. The new wave that will change the art world forever.
As well as the uncouth gentleman you met, he also mentioned the financial books.
Uncouth? Anyone not wearing full priest robes is uncouth to him. I wouldn't show Horace the finances because it has nothing to do with him. And he's simply looking for any excuse to have me fired. Nothing more. Well, considering he didn't want her work anywhere near the museum, I wouldn't have said they had one at all. Then the next thing I heard was that he had commissioned her to do some pieces for his church. I didn't know anything about it until Irene told me.
Do you know what he had commissioned her to paint?
No idea, I'm afraid. She was sworn to secrecy.
You have been most helpful.
Go on, then. You'll have to be more specific than that, Detective.
The paintings produced by Mademoiselle Cortsmith's brush.
Oh, yes. Well, I thought it was necessary if she was to feature in the museum.
You couldn't just use her other pieces as reference?
I suppose I could have, but I don't actually see why it is any concern of yours. It is not as though I kept it anyway. I wasn't happy with it clogging up my bin, let alone my museum.
Merci, Your Grace.
Aha. Huh. Aha. Oh. Ah. Oh. Ah. Huh. Oh. Aha. Huh. Oh. Aha. Huh. Huh. Oh. Ah. Ah. Huh. Hmm. Aha.
Logical thinking shall always prevail. One step closer to revealing the truth. The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
It appears that the good bishop has been replacing the church's original artworks with fakes painted by Mademoiselle Court Smythe. He commissioned her to make these forgeries so that no one would notice when the originals disappeared.
Disappearing where, though? You don't think he's selling them, do you?
Why else? Mademoiselle Bavagnin appears to have been right about the bishop's connection to the black market. Now, Hastings, we must ask ourselves, where might Bishop Mountjoy be hiding the original paintings from the church before he sells them on? We must gain access to the space behind the confessional.
Oh.
Why don't you have a look first?
Do not tell me you are afraid of the dark.
Not the dark, just pitch black, eerie passages in old churches. Poirot, where are we?
If I am not mistaken, this is part of the secret tunnels that were built hundreds of years ago to sneak those that did not agree with the powers of the country out.
And why exactly are we in here?
The why must never be obvious. That is the whole point.
Right.
Ah. Aha. Huh.
We have our third forgery. There is evidence of a much more modern painting on the back of the canvas.
Thank goodness. Don't know how I would explain finding the original in such a state.
Bishop Mountjoy must have discovered the painting that he received from Mademoiselle Courtsmythe was one of her forgeries.
And lashed out. Now it makes sense. He's been using this room to store his own private art collection. I can picture him sitting here smug as anything, surrounded by stolen paintings.
What I find most unfortunate
is that not only does he deprive the world of beauty and joy from seeing these works, but he also keeps them in such dark and dank conditions, the old fool. He's even having to light his candle clock to keep from drifting off down here. Such a waste, don't you think, Poirot?
One's opinions are now worth listening to.
I was only voicing my thoughts.
You have thoughts beside those of Mademoiselle Farquhar?
Really, Poirot? You still think so little of me?
When one exclaims such regard for a suspect in a murder investigation, it is hard not to think any other way and comment so.
You may not be so accustomed to the idea of showing, or at least having, some form of empathy for our fellow man.
There is a difference between empathy and lust.
And there is a difference between commenting and being rude and obnoxious.
I was not expecting Monsieur Hastings to be so sensitive on the matter. Perhaps this conversation is best saved for when we are not trapped together.
What was that? Oh, just the bishop's candle clock. I don't know about you, but I've had enough of this place. Let's get out of here. What are you doing, Poirot?
S'il vous plaît, un moment.
The bishop's candle clock has forced me to question everything of the murder scene that I previously thought I knew.
We must return to Mademoiselle Courtsmythe's apartment.
Perhaps that is a job best left for you, by yourself.